you should probably expect spoilers. Mass Effect is one of those games where if you give it time and get beyond all its earlier teething processes, then there's a whole galaxy full of adventure just waiting to be discovered. On one random day about 5 years ago, I decided to dive into this series at the request of friends, and I'm so glad I did, otherwise I wouldn't have been introduced to such lovable characters like Tali'Zorah here. Since this is the first time we're visiting a Mass Effect character on Who Dat, I'm going to provide some very quick background information on the in-game universe, just so we're all on the same page before we begin talking about Tali herself. Though don't expect me to go into too much detail, otherwise I'll honestly be here all day. Mass Effect takes place in our distant future, where in the year 2148, humans discovered ancient alien technology on Mars. This technology granted humanity the ability to travel faster than light through the use of huge devices called mass relays, and in doing so, it introduced our species to a galactic network of alien races. We learned a lot from mingling with our alien neighbours, and our own technology advanced tremendously because of it. That being said, it wasn't all happy meals and free toys. To some alien species, such as the Turians, humanity was seen as a liability, and there was much initial tensions between the two sides. Over time, humanity earned its place, and was granted its own embassy on the Citadel, an enormous space station that serves as the capital for the galactic community, so we were officially in the house now, as they say. The trilogy follows you as Shepard, the commander of the starship Normandy and the lead protagonist across all 3 games. In the first game, you and your crew are off chasing a rogue agent named Saren, who has seemingly betrayed the Citadel Council in favour of siding with the Geth, a race of AI synthetics known for almost wiping out their creators, the Quarians. As such, the Geth are viewed as a threat to the whole galaxy. Through further investigation, you learn that Saren's ultimate goal goes beyond just siding with the Geth, and in fact he's aiding something called the Reapers. You discover that the Reapers are a highly advanced race of synthetic organic starships who live in dark space, but pop over to our galaxy every 50,000 years so they can harvest us for their next barbecue. Along your journey, you make new friends from a handful of different alien races, and it's these friends I feel make the games so engaging. The characters feel thoroughly fleshed out, and even the boring ones have 1 or 2 moments that make you stop and think about what they've been going through. Mass Effect is a really great series to find a new favourite character in. And this finally leads us to Tali, a female Quarian who... Wait a second, I didn't explain who the Quarians were yet, did I? Okay, you know what, I'm going to cut a corner here and just play you the in-game codex entry for the Quarians because fuck it.
Driven from their home system by the Geth nearly 3 centuries ago, most Quarians now live aboard the Migrant Fleet, a flotilla of 50,000 vessels ranging in size from passenger shuttles to mobile space stations. Home to 17 million Quarians, the flotilla understandably has scarce resources. Because of this, each Quarian must go on a rite of passage known as the pilgrimage when they come of age. They leave the fleet and only return once they have found something of value they can bring back to their people. Other species tend to look down on the Quarians for creating the Geth, and for the negative impact their fleet has when it enters a system.
Wicked. Okay, so now this brings us to Tali. Tali'Zorah is a young female Quarian who was on her pilgrimage when she ran into a Geth squad. Upon defeating the small group, Tali discovered that one of the Geth had a recorded audio file in which Saren can be heard discussing his sinister plans. Fearing this spelled trouble on a galactic scale, Tali took the audio file to the Citadel in the hopes of passing the information on to the Council, but because the Quarians tend to get brushed off as nothing more than troublemakers, the Citadel security didn't care for Tali nor the information she had on those files. As fate would have it, Commander Shepard was at that point in time trying to prove Saren's betrayal to the Council himself, but lacked any solid evidence to do so. With Tali holding the key evidence he needed, she joined his crew and they presented the audio file to the Council together. The evidence stuck, and Saren was stripped of his Spectre agent status. This didn't stop Saren however, and he continued to go about his plans anyway. Shepard gave chase across the galaxy, and Tali assisted the commander's crew right up until the mission was completed. After that, her pilgrimage was over, and she had to return to the migrant fleet. Over the course of the series, Tali usually came and went from Shepard's team, often dealing with numerous personal obligations and Quarian political matters. Whenever she would return though, she was welcomed with open arms and fitted back into the crew smoothly. Visual design. The first thing you usually notice about Tali is that she is constantly wearing her suit and mask, even when it might seem the need for such items is unnecessary. There is a very good reason for this. The Quarian immune system is incredibly weak. When the Geth drove the Quarians from their planet, they needed to wear the suits to stay alive, and the migrant fleet had to remain a completely sterile environment, otherwise they would die. Under certain circumstances and heavily controlled environments can a Quarian take off their suit, but even then it still poses a huge risk on the Quarian's life. So yeah, our girl Tali has to stay kitted out in that garment or else it's game over. Which is not visually a bad thing for me, as I really like the design of the Quarians. Or I could just be honest and say that I really like her ass.
The way you shake it, I can't believe it. I ain't never seen a ass like that.
Tali wears a black environmental suit while various buckles are strapped tightly to her body. Quarians need to be resourceful, therefore it's perfectly fitting for a Quarian to have access to numerous storage compartments. Due to Quarians constantly living within their suits, they tend to express themselves with their outfit by adding colourful fabrics to the mix. Tali's design showcases white swirling embroidery on a purple cloth that runs from her head down to her hips and thighs. The visor for her mask is also purple, which is complemented by the fabric she is wearing. The hood itself is an interesting inclusion for female Quarians, especially Tali, who speaks with an unidentifiable Eastern European sounding accent. Coupled with the hood and the fact that their race carry their homes on their backs, it's hard not to see a gypsy-like influence within the design of the Quarians. Tali herself actually changes her suit from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2. In Mass Effect 1, she was still a young girl on her pilgrimage. By the time Mass Effect 2 came around, Tali had returned to the migrant fleet and became a young woman, showing signs of development and experience. She was even given certain levels of authority too, as she is shown leading her own unit.
Now we're working with Cerberus?
No, Praza, you're working for me. If you can't follow orders, go wait on the ship.
The changes in Tali's design symbolize a coming of age with the character. Her hood is the most instantly noticeable change to her outfit, taking on a more loose and baggy shape compared to her previous hood. This allows Tali to stand out more from regular female Quarians now. Her neck and chest is layered with gold plating, maybe purely for simple design reasons, but I like to think of it as another way in which Tali is expressing herself now that she has matured into a woman. The tone and the way which it is worn makes me think of some form of gypsy styled necklace. Then there comes the subject of Tali's face. Okay, look, no matter which way I throw this out, it's going to be a bloody outrage to somebody watching this, so I'll just say it and then I'll try to explain myself as best as I can, okay? Alright, here we go. I don't mind Tali's official face design. Calm down, let me explain. Right. Firstly, for those who ain't aware, there was much controversy surrounding Tali's face during the course of the Mass Effect trilogy. Due to the Quarian immune system, a Quarian needs to keep their suit on at all times, right? Well, because of this, Tali gained a lot of fan theories on what she looked like underneath the mask. Mass Effect is full of choices for you to make, and one of the possible choices is starting a relationship with Tali. If she becomes your love interest in Mass Effect 2, she takes off the mask to show Shepard her face, but the camera is conveniently angled behind her, so we don't get to see it. This only made fans speculate more, so by the third game, expectations were so high that no matter what Bioware did, there was going to be a whole lot of upset people. For Mass Effect 3, if you successfully continued your relationship with Tali, towards the end of the game she takes a photo of herself without her mask on and gives it to you. And this was it. And this is a photoshopped image of Miss England 2005. I am not shitting you. But again I say, I don't mind it. Is it underwhelming? Yes it is. Is it a lazy reveal? Yes, definitely, very lazy. But overall, is it bad in the sense of the word? Is it bad? Well, actually no, it's not bad. The trouble here I think lies in the way in which they chose to go about revealing her face. It was undeniably half-assed. I mean, they literally took a stock photo and shopped it. It looks so incredibly out of place amongst the 3D character models for the game. Quite frankly, if I hate anything about this reveal, it's the presentation and not really the design itself. I would even hazard a guess and say that if Bioware had instead created a 3D model of Tali with this design, then the impact it would have had on the fans would have been less jarring and maybe even more welcomed than it was. Tali's character designer Matt Rhodes has stated her face went through numerous different designs and was always a source of heavy debate amongst the team. One of these designs that Matt felt worked on a fairly reasonable level was this image, which is not too far from the final design featured in the game. If this was the case, and a design like this had been sitting around waiting to go through to final official status, then why on earth did they even need to Photoshop a photograph? Look, if making a 3D character model of Tali's face was too time consuming, then I would have just used the artwork instead. Seriously, this guy spent more time drawing Tali than it likely took to Photoshop that photograph, and it absolutely breaks my brain to think we were given a tacky edited real life photo of a beauty model when such a talented artist could have provided an image more suitable. But it's official canon now. This is what Quarians look like, and Tali in particular looks like this. As I said, I don't mind it. It's not what I was expecting, but I have accepted the design Bioware went for. My only wish was they could have handled the reveal a million times better than they did. This controversial topic did open up another form of discussion though, one that I found to be quite interesting and relevant to some of us in this online world. The power of personality and how we are drawn to it.
Personality.
Tali is a warm-hearted character. She means well, she wants to do the right thing, and despite how much animosity she faces for being a Quarian, she still wants to help others. She is a loyal squadmate, and once she gains your trust, she will do everything she can to keep it. I suppose that comes with part of being a Quarian though. When your entire race is blamed for what the Geth have done, a blame that I personally feel is misdirected at times, it can be difficult to earn the respect of others. But regardless, Tali proved herself to not only Shepard, not only his crew, but to the entire galaxy, and she did so time and time again. Another side to Tali that is quite endearing is her hidden level of shyness. Because Quarians tend to be kept at arm's length from other races, when someone does get close to her and moments seem to be more intimate, she suddenly becomes very coy, tripping over her own words and acting a little scatterbrained. It's cute, and it was a nice addition to her personality, only ever really creeping in during the rarest of moments and not defining Tali's overall characteristics. She can also be considered a bit of a nerd. She's a Quarian technician, so she naturally knows her way around computers very easily, and she's occasionally seen typing something into her Omni tool. Another thing factoring into her geeky side is her love for fictional shows and films. One film in particular, named Fleet and Flotilla, is her personal favourite. If you're in a relationship with Tali, she'll activate sing-along mode and sing one of the songs from the film, and look, babes, like, I love you and everything, but just don't do that. Please stop it, please stop. All in all, Tali's personality is one of the more easier ones to get to grips with. There's a lot about her that is likeable, and she has enough depth within her personality to be a pretty engaging character. Which leads me back around to that interesting topic of discussion I mentioned earlier regarding the controversy surrounding Tali's face. By the time you finally see what she looks like in Mass Effect 3, you would have spent uncountable amounts of hours with her. You befriend her, you share some personal moments with her, and depending on your own actions, you could eventually start a relationship with this girl. That's a lot of history to make with one character whose face you haven't even seen yet. Upon revealing herself to you, how would you honestly feel? How important are looks if you've already fallen in love with someone when their appearance wasn't a factor to begin with? Would it change your mind, and if so, why? The reason this struck me as an interesting topic is because once upon a time, the internet worked like this. We went online, not to log into Instagrams and YouTubes, but to message boards and text-based chat programs. We befriended people all over the world in these environments. These conditions were limiting and restricting, and even if they weren't, some people were hesitant about showing their face online anyway. Some people to this day still are. We befriended many people based purely on their personalities that they broadcasted through the text that they typed. We found love online within these limitations. The concept of falling in love with Tali without seeing what she looks like feels like a callback to earlier times and how bonds were initially formed online. So, as controversial as some may like to make it, the debate about Tali's face opened up a very interesting topic of discussion in which we personally could learn more about ourselves and what we really fall in love with when meeting other people. I still think they handled her actual reveal like shit though.
Importance.
From a storyline perspective, Tali is probably one of the most crucial characters you meet early on in the series. Her evidence against Saren was the deciding factor for getting Shepard's journey officially rolling. Without it, Shepard would still be sitting around Cora's den getting awkwardly entertained by Asari lap dancers. Mass Effect 2 saw Tali deal with troubling matters involving her father, a Quarian admiral who made a few mistakes which now placed Tali at the centre of the situation. It was a reversal of roles that we saw from Mass Effect 1, where Tali was the reason you were able to proceed with your mission against Saren. For Mass Effect 2, it was your turn to be there for her in her time of need. By Mass Effect 3, the galaxy is going to shit in every direction. Amidst it all, if you made the right choices throughout the series so far, Tali would be an admiral for the migrant fleet herself now, which is the highest rank obtainable for a Quarian. This meant she had to devote more time to the Quarian people and spent less time among Shepard's crew. With great power comes great responsibility and all that. While the trilogy slowly directed Tali down her own personal pathway, it showed that even when she wasn't on screen, she was still out there doing something important. I like the fact that Tali gaining rank as the series progressed meant she was growing as a character. It also showed us that she could exist without needing to be anywhere near the lead protagonist. Her story arc allowed Tali to advance on her own without requiring constant moments in the spotlight, and every time we came back to Tali, she had evolved a little more each time.
Conclusion.
When I began my first ever playthrough of Mass Effect, I initially started a relationship with Ashley. This relationship began purely on visual appeal because as time went on, I realised I had very little in common with that character. I found a huge percentage of what she spoke about to be non-relevant to me, and quite frankly, I didn't gel with her at all. Then there was Tali'Zorah, a character whose face I couldn't even see, and yet through the discussions and stories of herself and her people, I felt captivated. I wanted to learn more, and I looked forward to talking to her after every mission. She felt familiar. Perhaps it was the coming of age aspect, or maybe it was the fact that behind the calm personality lay a hidden level of shyness that was recognizable to me. Was it her nerdy side, or could it have possibly been her cultural heritage that drew me in? It must have been all of these things, because when I stop and think about it, I notice there is very little about Tali that I don't like, aside from the sing-along shit. Please don't ever do that again. Tali'Zorah gets my Valhalla emblem for being one of my favourite characters from Mass Effect.